Welcome back to A's Tournament. In this series, we're going to be starting the matchup of 4th seed Arizona going up against 5th seed Pennsylvania in the left conference. This is the second series of A's Tournament. In this series, Arizona is going to be the 4th seed, and Pennsylvania is the 5th seed. One quick thing to note, though, Arizona technically ended the regular season with one less win than Pennsylvania. However, the first 4 seeds on each side went to the 4 winners of the 4 divisions on each side. So going into this, the teams are extremely even, but technically the lower seed did end up with one additional win compared to Arizona. These teams are actually extremely equal when it comes to their overall team charts that you see there in the middle. You'll see that they're both low on power. They're both, very kind of lopsided on the pitching bars. And it will be very interesting to see how they perform, as they performed relatively differently in the regular season from one another, despite having very similar team setups. We'll start off with Arizona for a second here. Arizona finished the season with 43 wins. They are led by their starting pitcher in Russ Plaintiff. The other superstars we're going to be watching out for on their team are their first baseman, Gene Holcorn, their second baseman, Caden Theodoris, and their shortstop, Rebecca McFreddy. Arizona also does have a closing pitcher, which I do not believe we saw in the first series. So for starting pitchers, for closing pitchers, what this means is they typically come in innings 8 and 9, and as long as they're not pushed past kind of let's say 6 batters, they will typically come in every game to close out a game for the team. So they're kind of a specialty that is not on every team, but actually both of these teams have that. If we switch sides to Pennsylvania finished the regular season with 44 wins. They are led by their closing pitcher, Gustav Finley. Their other superstars that we're going to be watching out for is their shortstop in Liana Rodriguez, their left fielder in Marcus Zhang, and their second baseman in Milo Stiffbottom. All of these players had exceptional regular seasons, and this should be a very interesting series. Neither of these teams were top in things like points scored or home runs. However, Pennsylvania performed very well in fielding and pitching stats, and Arizona performed very well in certain things like batting average and hits. So, like I said, despite them having similar bars, their regular seasons were a little bit of opposite worlds. With that being said, we're going to start off today with starting pitchers Russ Plaintiff, who again is the leader of this Arizona team as an S rating, and he will be pitching against Pennsylvania's starter Slide Adams, who is an A-. So we'll see how this pans out. This should be a kind of a pitching duel to start things off. But I'll see you guys in game. We are in the game, and we are going to be starting things off here with Russ Plaintiff taking the mound. Funny enough, this actually happened in our first series as well. We have 2 very similar uniforms going at it in terms of colors here. Hopefully this does not become too confusing. Every single team had a completely randomized color and uniform assigned to them. So the fact that we're starting this off with 2 very similar teams in terms of their uniforms is a little bit problematic, but we will see how this pans out. We started off with Russ Plaintiff getting a strikeout, and that ball is grounded. Reeves gets it and does get it over to first for the out. Russ Plaintiff, who is the starting pitcher, he finished the regular season leading the league with 153 strikeouts. And that just continues his plot there. Gets a quick first inning there. Gene Holcorn will be taking the plate, and Gene Holcorn, nice hit right over the shortstop's dive. This is a slow one out, and that looks like a very weak throw. We'll need to take a look more into these stats as these games go. Just based on that, let's take a quick look here. For Arizona, that center fielder is a C+ rating. Does not have the best arm. Slow grounder. That does put Gene on third there in scoring position. As you see, Miguel Wasman take the plate, and that is popped up. Does just land. That is extremely lucky, but this is going to get a triple and a first point on the board here for Arizona. Almost grounded, and it gets right past the second baseman here. And this is not starting out well for Pennsylvania. Tries to pick him off there at first. Tries it again. He needs to be careful with this. If he tries that too many times unsuccessfully, it will drop his mojo. That ball is grounded. It's going to be too far out for a second, for a double play. So Arizona still has somebody in scoring position up there on second with a very good speed bar. Gantry Norman here is now up to bat. Gantry Norman is a B- left fielder. And he gets a nice hit into the gap as well. Lands in the outfield. And this has started out as a bit of a disaster here for Pennsylvania. But we'll see how this pans out. Pennsylvania, in the regular season, had a much more successful pitching side of things compared to batting. So definitely not the way that they're wanting to start game one. They do get a strikeout there on Burke. Russ Plaintiff is going to be coming back here. He struck out 2 of the possible 3 batters so far. Grounder, McFreddy there as the shortstop. Gets it over to first. To Holcorn for the first out. Hard grounder is second. Theodoris gets another quick out. And it looks like Russ Plaintiff, the starting pitcher, just got a mojo increase. And his bars are basically completely maxed out now. Ira Ali is their right fielder, and she gets struck out. Slide Adams is going to be stepping back up to the mound here, and he needs to be careful. He really needs to limit any additional damage here. As we saw in the first series, I believe it was game 4, where Ohio went on a scoring spree, and that really set the pace for the rest of that series. So Pennsylvania needs to be very careful here. Porter Knapp, who is up here, is their center fielder. And he does not have the best batting stats, but he does get one through the gap. And Pennsylvania's problems continue. McDaniel in the regular season only had 2 home runs, although he did bat at an average of a 3.13. So he does get struck out there, but definitely somebody to look out for, as he actually finished the best batting average of everybody on Arizona here. Gene Holcorn back up. And he gets walked. Slide Adams is already going up against that mojo decrease from the intense, but he does get another strikeout here. Starts things off here with 2 strikes to 1 ball. He does get the strikeout. Russ Plaintiff and back up to the mound as he hopes to continue his tear here on Pennsylvania. Ball is popped up. Should be an easy out here. The shortstop falls back into the field for it, and McFreddy does get the out. Nevada Mars is the third baseman. He batted an average of a 2.48 in the regular season. And something to keep in mind here with this Pennsylvania team is, despite their overall batting issues, that ball just goes foul over the first baseline. Despite their overall batting issues in the regular season, they're one of the few teams that doesn't have any superstar batters, but their overall batting is very decent. Everybody on this team is going to be a little bit of a worry as a home run hitter, and they get struck out. Clowners, who is their catcher, is taking plate here for the first time. That ball is popped up, and Russ Plaintiff should close out this inning. Russ Plaintiff, that is about the cleanest first 3 innings that you can get. And it will be very interesting if Arizona gets through this round. They will be going up against Ohio. And that would put us with Russ Plaintiff going against Laurel O'Connor, who again is one of the other top starting pitchers in this tournament. Slide Adams starts things out here with a strikeout. Ding Reeves, who is now at the plate, third baseman for Arizona. In the regular season, batting average of 307 and hits it just over the first baseman, and that gets a runner on first for Arizona. Norman pops one up. That is looking to be very deep, right along the wall, and it does go out. Norman, who just hit that, only had 3 home runs in the regular season. However, he was also not one of their best batters. He only batted a 2.230 average. So you never know what's going to happen when we reach playoffs. You only need 1 or 2 good games in order to really, really help your team out. That ball is hit and will fall in center field in front of Simon. And Arizona continues with this dominant Game 1 performance so far. Ball is popped up, and that's going to land out in the foul area. And hits the dirt. Slide Adams does get another strikeout here. Daniel, their right fielder, stepping back up. Currently 0 for 1. That ball gets away, and that's going to put them with the runner progressing to second. Ball gets popped. That is a line drive, but does get caught at the wall. Russ Plaintiff coming back out, so far pitching a perfect game here. Another one just popped up right there. Russ Plaintiff should get this catch. And he does. Deanna Rodriguez, who is now up to bat, is their A-plus player. She plays shortstop for them. And she only has a 70 power, but she has a 97 contact. But she does get struck out, doesn't even take a swing there. Milo Stiffbottom is now up. He's their B-rated second baseman. In the regular season, he only batted .231 batting average. So we'll see if he can get anything going here for them. He does get that ball popped up. It looks like it's going to go straight to Norman there in the field. Arizona is at the top of their batting order again. We'll see here. Slide has struggled, and that ball is popping. That's looking like it is out of here with another home run. That went over that higher wall there, and that was Gene Holthorne. And you see there his mojo did increase from that hit. Second McFreddy, slow grounder. Rodriguez grounds it barehanded and does get the out. It'll be interesting to see how long Slide Adams remains in the game. And Ayers, beautiful catch. Jumped up and did not let that one pass. Slide Adams is already at 77 pitches now. You can see his bars are starting to drop there in the bottom left. He does get a strikeout though. In terms of Pennsylvania, they have their closer in Gustav Finley, who's their S player. However, their 3 relief pitchers are all in the C range. So they're going to try to remain with Slide Adams as long as they can, even though he's struggled some so far. And Russ Plaintiff continuing his dominant performance here. And Slide Adams is at about 80 pitches. Russ Plaintiff here is only at 49. Quick second out. The interesting thing here is that outside of this first game of this series, Pennsylvania will have starting pitcher advantages in games 2 and 3. So we'll see how that pans out. But again, Russ Plaintiff here continuing his dominant performance. Slide Adams is going to start things off this inning going against Ding Reeves here. Ball is grounded hard past the pitcher. Simon gets it there in center field. Arizona starts off with someone on first. Ball gets away from the catcher. That is going to allow a player to get in scoring position there in second. Ball gets hit foul. Hard grounder. And they actually keep their player at second. It's probably a smart move, but that looked a little wonky there. And okay, here we go. Slide Adams is going to be swapped out with Felipe Holloway. And Felipe Holloway is a C- relief pitcher. In the regular season, despite being a C-, went 10 wins for them. Oh, that ball gets right by Ali there in the field. That was a disastrous fielding error. I don't know if that's going to be considered an error or not, but that was an absolute disastrous play. Felipe Holloway here did go 10 wins to 2 losses and only put up a 3.66 ERA, which is actually the third lowest ERA on this team, despite being a C- pitcher. So we'll see if he can keep this a 7-run game and does get him out there. Ball is popped up and will go into the stands. That ball is hit, but it's not going to be deep enough. And Simon gets the third out for them. So Russ Plaintiff again is pitching a perfect game so far. We'll need to see how his stamina bar is holding up. He's at 54 pitches, but look at his stamina bar is still at probably about 60% there. Russ Plaintiff starts things out with another strikeout for Arizona. Nevada Mars stepping up here for Pennsylvania. Nevada Mars is a C+ third baseman for them. And gets struck out. And his mojo dropped. Theo Clowners steps up here. Gets a hit, and that will land out in the field. So that is going to be Pennsylvania's first hit of the game. So we'll see if that gets them with something moving here. Dim Simon in the regular season batted a .251 average, only 4 home runs. Hard grounder, and that will end the inning. Gene Holcorn here for Arizona will be taking the plate. The ball is popped up, and it looks like a simple catch here for the catcher. And he does get it there. Rebecca McFreddy, interesting thing about her is that it's grounded to Rodriguez, and it isn't out. What I was going to say is that McFreddy does have decent speed, but she had that bad jump trait, so she only tried stealing 4 times in the regular season. And he got hit by the pitch there. One of the struggles that we're going to see with these C- pitchers. That ball is hit. It is looking very deep. Caught right against the wall by Ali. That really, really helps Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania starting things off this inning with Juliana Rodriguez. Grounder over to first, and Holcorn will get the first out. That was the bottom, second foul. Other foul. And he gets struck out. Russ Plaintiff with that on-fire mojo. The stamina is really not affecting him at all yet. That ball is popped up, but it's not looking to go out. And that is caught by Knapp there in center field. Arizona. This part of their lineup has done exceptionally well so far in this game. So we'll see how long Holloway stays in. I think that they would prefer Holloway at least get through this inning. Norman locked in mojo, so his bars are a little bit higher. He does already have that home run and a second base hit. Or a double. And 3 RBIs. So he's going to continue with a single here. Absolutely great first game from him. Jediah Burke, who is up to bat, is their designated hitter. The regular season actually played very well. Had a batting average of .280. He did get them 6 home runs, but he does pop out there into the field. Center fielder Knapp up to the bat here with 2 outs and a runner on first. Hard grounder, and that is going to... Oh, they end up getting the out there. Knapp, I was actually expecting that to be safe. Let's take a quick look at Knapp here. He has a speed of a 66, so I'm actually a little bit surprised that he wasn't able to get there. But it is what it is. This Plaintiff starts off the 8th inning with 2 strikes. Line drive to McFreddy there at shortstop. Myra Ali, who was up to bat here, had that weird fielding drop out there in right field earlier in the game. Full count here. And a strike right down the center. And a line drive to McFreddy. Russ Plaintiff is looking like he might show our first full game by starting pitcher. He had a dominant performance. We'll see what happens here. Ball gets hit foul right over third base. Starting things off here with a 2-strike count. Ball gets a slow pop-up, and Rodriguez there gets the catch at shortstop. Start things off with 2 balls, 3 balls, and 4 balls to block the batter. That's the second time he's been walked. Bay Holloway is now in that red bar for velocity. Hard hit to stiff bottom. Bill Wesman. Let's see what's happening here. They're going to bring in another relief pitcher. Interestingly, We'll see Pennsylvania doesn't look like they're going to even bother sending in Gustav Finley here, who is their S-rated closer. I think Pennsylvania has kind of signed away this game at this point. Is just trying to stop the damage at this point. Caden Theodoris stepping up. He has an extremely high contact bar and a very decent power bar, so you have to watch out for someone like this. In terms of a home run, ball sneaks by, and that looks like it's going to bring in another run here for Arizona, and it does. Arizona is now up 8-0 in game 1. Look at this. Ding Reeves has that RBI man trait. We'll see if that helps him out here. Hard grounder, and they are just not having any luck. There have been so many grounders that have gotten past the infield. Take a quick look here. For Pennsylvania, their second baseman does not have high speed, which has played into a number of these. Despite that initial drop there, he is able to close out the inning. And Russ Plaintiff, we're going to see if they keep him in. He is their S-rated pitcher, and I think it would be to their advantage to just let him pitch this and not waste one of their reliefs or their good closer. Sienna McBiddles. Slow grounder. Theodoris over to Holcorn for out 1. Connors swings. Sitting at 2 strikes, 1 ball. Ball is popped up, but it's going to go foul. It remained in bounds, though. It does, and McDaniel is able to get over there in time for the second out. 1 out to go here for Russ Plaintiff. Going up against Simon here. And he's sitting at 2 strikes. Pitch count 102 here. And he does get the strikeout. Russ Plaintiff, an absolutely dominant game 1. And Arizona is going to take game 1. Let's take a look at the box score and the player stats here. Arizona, in only 8 innings on the plate, got 9 runs off of 15 hits. In terms of batting, there are a number of players here that bat it very well for Arizona. Holcorn, Wasman, Theodoris, Reeves, Norman. There are a number of players that just had such a dominant game 1 performance here. However, I don't see any player taking the MVP from Russ Plaintiff here. Pitched an entire game, 10 strikeouts, only allowed 1 hit. It's an absolutely dominant performance from Russ Plaintiff. And that is going to be MVP of our game 1, Russ Plaintiff. That starting pitcher, absolutely dominant performance. Followed up here by Norman and Holcorn. With that, thank you for joining me for game 1. I will be seeing you guys for game 2, and I'm excited. Catch you next time.